Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing? So this is going to be another funnier effed up story about my life, and yeah, this one is actually how I was kicked out of Sunday school. As funny as that sounds, but it actually did happen, and not so much kicked out, but politely asked not to come back, which is weird because usually with religious people, um, they really want to bring everybody into their religion. And I'm an atheist anyway. I even was then because I didn't know what Sunday school was. Now, just to throw it out there, I don't want people to think I'm against religious people. I'd be really against half the people in my family. So I don't want anybody to think that this is some sort of hateful video. I'm just making fun of the situation, the circumstance at hand, and the people kind of that it involves in this story. And also, if you want to subscribe, help me get up to 1,000 subs. That would be kind of cool too. That'd be kind of fun. And like and comment and do all that other stuff. Anyway, let's get into this story. So how it started, how I ended up at Sunday school in the first place, not being raised in a religious home. Now my mom's Catholic, my grandma's Catholic, she's Italian Catholic, so that means there's crucifixes on every wall, pictures of Jesus all over the place. My house, none of that, like zero. My mom was Catholic, but she wasn't practicing. She didn't go to church and any of that stuff. It was only like we went to church if it was like a wedding or a funeral, one or the other, generally speaking, or like if somebody was getting baptized, and generally speaking, I wouldn't be there. But I was surprised I made it for my own, but I was a baby, so I had no choice. But anyway, so how it started, there was in my townhouse complex, there was these two brothers. One was older than me, one was younger, and their parents were very Christian, and these two kids were the biggest pieces of shit in the townhouse complex of all the kids that were there. That they were bullies, they stole, they were just bratty kids. But of course, they had the parents that, oh, that's not my kid. My kid would never do anything like that. But yeah, everybody has a friend or knows somebody like that. Maybe you were that kid. I don't know, but yeah, there's always this couple kids where their parents don't believe that it's their kid doing causing the problems. But anyway, these two kids were those people, those kids. But when they were around their parents, they were good as gold. Now they weren't friends of mine per se. They were like friends of friends. Yeah, hi monkey. They were friends of friends. They weren't my friends. But one day they were walking through the towns and they were with their father, and he comes over to me. Now I didn't know about the religious-y part of their family, but hey lemons. But anyway, so he comes out and approaches me like the three of them, the father and the two kids, and he comes over. He starts asking me about Sunday school, if I've ever been to Sunday school, and I said no because I really didn't know what Sunday school was. I remember watching TV shows and they would talk about Sunday school, like, oh, we went to Sunday school, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just either extra, like it was just school that you went to on Sunday. I didn't know it was a religious thing because I was never raised that way, so I had no concept of it. So he asks me, and I said no, and so him and the two kids that were like they were my age at the time. I calling them kids, but one was older than me, but anyway, you get the idea. And they start going on about how Sunday school is so much fun. And last week they were there and they're running around playing Ninja Turtles and all this other stuff I was buying into it. I mean, they're full of shit, but but I believed them. So I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. I said, yeah, I want to go. I want to go. It sounds cool. I'll talk to my dad. So anyway, I tell my dad. I remember telling my dad specifically and saying I wanted to go to Sunday school. And I think my dad was just like, I don't remember his actual reaction, but I think he was very like, wait, what? Why? I remember he said why, and I just said I don't know. Like it just sounds like fun. Like some friends of mine are going because it was one of those things where I said the kids were my friends. They weren't my friends. One of them was my bully, and the other one was an asshole. But anyway, so I said, yeah, my friends are going, and it sounds like fun, and I want to go too. So the only thing my dad said to me, he wasn't against me against me going. He's an atheist, but his mentality was, well, you know what? You can find out for yourself. This is what you can make your own choices when it comes to religion and stuff like that. Whether he agrees with my choices or not, it didn't matter. He wanted me to make my own choices, see it for what it really is or what I thought it might be. But so anyway, this big gray bus comes and gets me, and stops, and bunch of kids on it. And it says something something church on the side of it, and Sunday school something or other. And so I don't really think about it. I get on the bus and I sit with the kids and their father that got me interested. So we go there, and the one kid's younger than me, the other kid's older. So they put me in some group, and I don't know what's going on now. So I'm in this room, and they, so welcome new person, blah 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 blah, and gives me a little booklet, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And it's like, it looks like a school book. So I'm thinking like, oh, okay. I'm thinking, what happened to the Ninja Turtles, and what happened to the running around and horsing around and having fun? So I'm looking at this book, and they're telling us the assignment and do this, and so I'm just kind of doing it. And so anyway, I show up. All the kids, they're wearing like shirts and ties, and they're all dressed up. I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, right? So, but they never said anything about my clothes or anything like that. I wasn't being judged yet. But anyway, so I do the assignment stuff, and they're like, okay, take this home and finish this off. And all the other kids are like, yeah, Rod and Todd Flanders type thing. And I'm just like, okay, of course I didn't do it. I was just like, I'm not doing homework. I got actual homework to do. I don't want to do this shit. Like, you know, and I knew I didn't pick up that it was like a religious thing quite yet. It was just telling about Bible stories. And I just sort of took it in as Bible stories, but like, that was just what we were doing. It could have been any story. It would have been the same thing to me. So anyway, so I come back, I didn't do the assignment, and then they gave me shit for, well, from now on you have to do it, blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking, okay. And next week, same thing, I didn't do it. I was just like, and I'm just going there like, so I've been there at this point, I think after about a month. I'm just going to, but I'm not just wearing black t-shirts. I'm wearing concert shirts anymore, and I'm always getting dirty looks from the other kids. So what they did is, they said, well, maybe you're too mature for this group of kids that were my age. So they moved me up to the next level group, where in this one, we're in a big room. We're not even in a little room anymore. We're like a big open room, and there's like bleachers here, and we're all sitting in the bleachers, and then the person's talking to us, standing out there like a university professor, telling us this thing. Now, I don't know what other people's Sunday schools were like. I have no idea, because this is the only one I went to, and I wasn't there that long. I was only there a couple months, which is actually pretty impressive on my part that I stayed there that long. But mind you, I was only like 11 or 12 years old, roughly. Let's say 12. I think I was even younger. I think it was 11. But anyway, so one day I'm just sitting there. I'm wearing this Ozzy shirt. There's a picture of Ozzy. I wish I had an Ozzy shirt to wear for this video. And it's a drawing, and he's got his hand up like this, and you can see the Ozzy on his knuckles, and his face is all like crazy looking. And it says Ozzy Osbourne, and on the back, I remember it said "Bark at the Moon" in big letters. So I remember this sitting there, and today's lesson is about music, and I see everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, what? Like, so then the teacher, whatever the person, preacher, I don't know, starts talking about classical music and how beautiful it is and all this other stuff. And then they start going on about heavy metal. And now you also got to think, this is just around the satanic panic era, where all the talk shows were talking about how evil and satanic heavy metal is, and how just bad it is, and all this ridiculous nonsense. Oh, play this record back. Oh, Judas Priest, this person killed himself. This person killed himself because of Ozzy. All the bullshit that was all over the media, all over the talk shows, Geraldo and Oprah and all that bullshit. But anyway, so it was around that time, and here I am sitting. Everyone else is in their little ties and dressed up nice, and I'm wearing an Ozzy Osbourne shirt, blue jeans, and I had kind of longish hair at the time. So they start going about how they were playing heavy metal music, and I remember they go, and it was Ozzy Osbourne's music, and they were playing it really loud, and the hamsters, their ears exploded. And like, obviously these things didn't happen. Either they were told this happened, or they're just making the shit up on the spot. But they told me that they're telling everybody, and of course they're looking at me, like, and everybody's eyes are sort of on me. I didn't care. Like, at that point, I was like done with this place, and I was just going there to cause shit. It was funny. And so anyway, they're going on about this, and they looked at me, what do you think of that, young man? Or they said, what do you think about that, Jack? But they used my real name. And I was like, well, wouldn't that be true if you're playing any loud music? I mean, I think if that happened, it's because the music was loud, not because it was heavy metal. And then I don't remember exactly what happened after that, but then that day on the bus ride home, two other kids was sitting there. I turned around and this one kid, I remember he was a little bit bigger than me. I can't remember. I remember he's a black kid. I don't remember his name. Not that it matters what his race was. I'm just trying to paint the picture of what happened. And he just grabs me around the neck and he's going on about heavy metals, evil and stuff. He's choking me, basically trying to kill me or hurt me, talking about how evil something else is while he's doing something particularly evil at the moment. And then all I hear is thump and my head pulls back and I turn around and he's standing looking at me like with this surprised look in his face. And now these were the school buses. I don't know if I haven't been in a school bus obviously in decades, but they had the metal bar on the back of the seat. So if you're sitting here, you can hold on to the metal bar. And I remember I grabbed him by the head because he was choking me, and I just pulled his head and I banged it right off the bar. I was so angry, like mad, and then he starts punching, and he's bigger than me, so he's pretty much winning. And then again, I hear thump, and I look up, and he's like this. And then what I realized, I didn't realize what was happening, but his brother, who's a bigger kid, punched him in the face like the first time, and I didn't notice because I was, I'm over here, and he got hit over here, and then I'm down like this, and he's hitting me, and that's when I heard the second thump, and he lets go, and he grabs and he's holding his brother, and he's like this, if you hit that boy again, and he said it in this almost sound like a southern accent, even though he was the farthest thing from a white person from the south could probably be. He's a black kid from Mississauga, Ontario, which is like a big city. So he grabs him and he's holding his fist like, you hit that boy again, and I'm gonna hit you so hard. And I just like, oh, thanks. And he goes, yeah, well, I don't like your shirt or something like that, but and it starts going on. We're all brothers and this and that. He actually was a cool kid, I guess. But anyway, so I go home, go back the next week wearing a different shirt. It's like a Motley Crue or something. And I get pulled aside when I come in, and they said, so you didn't get the hint last week. We don't want you wearing this type of thing. And I was just like, it's all I have. This is what I wear. This is my clothes, right? Like I said it kind of mouthy. Hi, Lemmy. Kind of mouthy, but more like fuck off. And so they didn't pay any attention to me during the entire like service or whatever, which I think they ran for an hour and a half, whatever it was, maybe 2 hours. I can't remember. And I'm sitting there, and as we get up to leave, the churchy guy in charge pulls me off to the side, and they said, do you really like it here? And I go, it's kind of funny. And he's like, but you're not coming here for the right reasons, I don't think. And I'm like, I guess not. And I can't remember exactly verbatim how the conversation went, but basically he was saying, like, you're not coming here for God and all this. And I was just like, no, it's something to do. And they're like, maybe you shouldn't come back anymore. I'm just like, okay. But it was just funny, like how, well, excuse me, they're usually trying to draw you in, and they literally tell me, because it wasn't sinking in for enough to me for them, they're literally telling me not to come back. So he's like, maybe you shouldn't come back here anymore. And I was like, okay. And I remember when I told my dad, he thought it was funny. I don't remember exactly how I told him, but I said that they asked me not to come back. So anyway, yeah, so I didn't get kicked out of Sunday school. I was just asked not to come back. But I know if I went back, they would have been like, all right, he's here. What do you want to do about it? Just go on with the day. But who's behind me? There's Lemmy's behind me. But yeah, anyway, just a funny little story about how, Sunday school really didn't work out for me. It certainly didn't change my beliefs. I mean, back then I probably would have considered myself more of an agnostic because, I wasn't as much into science and evolution and things like that as I am now. But still, it's just a little bit funny little story. Anyway, if you've had any weird experiences or interesting experiences of your own involving religion, nothing hateful or violent. I hate that shit. That's not what I want to promote on this channel. And also understand, I'm not anti-religious people. I'm not a fan of religion overall, but I certainly don't hate religious people. I have a lot of religious friends. I mean, where I work, I mean, I work with Christians, Jewish people, Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, like everybody across the board I work with, and not one of them ever preaches their religion to me ever. So, we all get along, we're all friends, and it's great. It's the way it should be. But so I just don't. I just want to throw that out there. I don't want people to think I'm just hating on religious people. I'm definitely not. I'm just not a fan of religion in general, and I don't believe in it. But like I don't believe in the faiths themselves. But anyway, everybody has an opinion. Not everybody's going to agree with yours, and you're not going to agree with everybody else's. So just throw that little tidbit out there too. Anyway, if you watch this all the way, thank you so much. If you want to subscribe, help me get up to 1,000 subs, please do. I'd really appreciate that. And if, like I said, if you want to comment about this down below, I'm more than happy to get back to you. Just don't be an asshole in the comments. You're wrong and you're a dick. No, I just won't respond to that. But if you want to banter about it, great. Anyway, until the next one. Bye.